That's pretty sweet. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas Payton, President of the Canton Chamber of Commerce, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to our 2020 State of Canton Township Address. Of course, we eagerly look forward to hearing from Supervisor Williams as he delivers the State of the Township Address. But just before we get into that portion of our program, we would, of course, like to recognize our many sponsors that have joined us today. We have 5 sponsors, as you saw on in the video there, and we would like to recognize our sponsors by giving each one of them a moment to take this podium and share a few words with the audience. Our sponsors today are Bovett CPA PC, Comcast, Mannequin Smith Group, Schoolcraft College, and last but not least, Toll Brothers. A round of applause for our sponsors, please. And first up to share a few words is Mr. Rob Bovitz from Bovett CPA.
I am standing on hallowed ground. What began as a dream last century back in the 1940s when Henry Ford, yes, that Henry Ford, decided that he wanted to house returning World War II veterans and give them a job. He founded the Village Arts Dormitory and Factory right across the street. Stay tuned, there'll be more on that later. And then in the late 90s, when Katie and I decided that we're going to make Canton our home, I grew up in the lovely waterfront town of Trenton, downriver, and Katie's from Farmington Hills. And she said, well, how about we move to Canton? That's kind of in between. I said, Canton, is that anywhere near Plymouth? And so this is 98. Well, obviously when we moved to the Links of Pheasant Run, instantly fell in love with our new community. And we've seen a lot of development through the years. Both of us are Leadership Canton graduates. Tom Yak with his visionary, and Melissa Mecalac will keep her in our prayers. She's fighting a life-challenging illness right now. All through Phil Joy and currently Pat Williams. So we're just so proud to call Canton our home. And in this political climate, I don't know if you don't realize there is an election this year at the national level, all the way through to the township. And so, Pat, this is not a rah-rah, but 4 more years.
Thank you, Mr. Bovitz. Next up will be Cal Mazurek representing Comcast.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kyle Mazurek. I'm the local government relations manager for Comcast. I have responsibility for all of Western Wayne County, the Plymouth-Canton area included. But it's great to be here with you today, both to support Thomas in the chamber and also Supervisor Williams, and acknowledge all the hard work that he, his staff, and his fellow elected officials put in on behalf of area residents and businesses alike. So with that being said, appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy the program today. I know at Comcast this is always an event we look forward to supporting every year. So thank you.
And we thank you, Kyle. Next up, we'll give our attention to John Browning from the Mannequin Smith Group.
This is always one of my favorite events for Mannequin Smith to be involved in and sponsor. A lot of you don't know much about Mannequin Smith, so bear with me. We have 14 offices. 8 of those are in Michigan. We have 375 employees. We're a ENR top 500 firm in the country. We're the 33rd largest firm in the Midwest. Our Canton office is actually our biggest office. It handles about 1/3 of the production, about 1/3 of our people. People from Canton, our office here in Canton, go all over the country. We have people stationed right now in Alabama, Mississippi, California doing projects from Canton. December, this past year, was our 15th year being in Canton. I'm extremely proud of our team here in Canton and excited about the things they do for us and for our community. We provide civil, engineering, surveying, and environmental work out of our office. So if you ever need those things or your company needs them, we'd like a chance to do them for you. I wanted to also thank Supervisor Williams, the elected officials. I wanted to thank all the people that work for Canton Township here. The services and support we get from our community are the best we could have. It allows us to succeed. It allows me as a resident of Canton to have a special life. It allows me to have a great working life every year here, and allows me to have a great business. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, John. And next up is Vaughn Winn, representing Schoolcraft College.
Good afternoon. I'm Vaughn Winn, the Executive Director of Marketing and Communications at Schoolcraft College, and we are a proud member of Canton Chamber for the last 45 years. So we appreciate the Chamber as well as our fellow members for your strong support in Schoolcraft College throughout the years. And personally speaking, I'm a Canton resident myself who acknowledges that this township is diverse in many aspects: entrepreneurial and economic opportunity, activities that cater to the various demographics, and the opportunity to thrive personally. I also want to give thanks to our Canton Township Supervisor Pat Williams for his monthly insights to Canton residents about the opportunities to explore about our community. This month, for example, I enjoyed reading about the Live Well Canton 2020 initiative, in which he encourages us to opt for a healthier lifestyle through nutrition, something he and his wife lead by example. Which leads me to something you might not know about Schoolcraft. We are predominantly a 2-year and a certificate-based institution. However, we do offer 1 4-year degree in culinary and dietary operations management. What that is a program designed for culinary students who are interested in management positions in the food industry or nutrition industry. This type of education is something our colleagues at Beaumont Health, as well as St. Joe, seek graduates with skills and abilities that Schoolcraft produces. Our faculty stays attuned to the needs of business and industries, modifying programs and curriculum as warranted to deliver a well-rounded 360-degree education that includes a robust textbook learning and as well as theory, hands-on experience. One example is a student who graduated from the program I referenced earlier with this Bachelor's of Science degree is now working at Beaumont Health, combining her passion for culinary with a desire to help people eat better with delicious and healthy, nutritious meals. So, more to come on that. If you have any questions about the degree, feel free to find me afterwards so we could chat. But also, I want to give a nod to the Plymouth Canton School District as one of our, we are very grateful since Schoolcraft College has received their support from day one. So please know that we are continuously working to serve the education needs of this community through a wide variety of programs and curriculum. So thank you very much for this opportunity to speak today, and I wish you all the success in the next coming year.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Ms. Nadia Mecalac from Toll Brothers.
Hi there. First of all, wonderful to see so many familiar faces. Isn't it great to know that this community, so many of us in this room are doing things over and over again together as a community, so just love it. I'm happy to be here. My name is Nadia Mecalac, Senior Sales Manager for Toll Brothers, America's largest luxury home builder. I'm proud myself to be a Canton resident for 20 years and have my children grow up in this incredible school system. And now, in just under 5 years, I'm so pleased to say Toll Brothers has now built over 400 luxury homes in our community, and with an average sales price between $400,000 and over $1.1 million. That actually means, believe it or not, $260 million we've brought in the housing community in this community, Canton, and I think that's pretty amazing. I'd like to say, hey, Northville, watch out. Canton is right behind you within a state community. And with this, and that means, of course, over 400 families to help continue to support this community, support our local businesses, our retail stores, of course, bars, schools, and be part of the wonderful foundations and charitable causes that we have here. We at Toll Brothers encourage our families to get involved, and so many of them have, and we're very, very proud of that. I'd like to say we're also extremely humbled and proud to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. We belong to many chambers around Michigan, and personally saying, Thomas knows, Canton Chamber's our favorite, hands down. And we love our leadership, friendship, support from Mr. Pat Williams, his beautiful wife Nancy, and the entire board. They work very, very hard to keep this Canton community a very, very special place to live. We feel like a small town, and I love that. I tell my families all the time that we're helping to build their dream homes. There is no better place to raise a family than Canton, nowhere more diverse and more loving And again, so proud to be part of this. So I thank you so much. I'd love you to join me with another round of applause for this great, great community and all the hard work that they do. And thank you for allowing us to be involved all these years. We appreciate it.
Can we have another round of applause for all 5 of our sponsors this afternoon, please? I think I speak for everyone in this room this afternoon that it is an absolute pleasure to be a part of the Canton community. Whether you're a resident here, you work here, you own a business here, Canton is truly the place to be. Wouldn't you agree? This is always a special luncheon that we look forward to hosting every year, so we eagerly look forward to the informative presentation that is in store for us. And now to introduce our guest of honor. Mr. Pat Williams is the supervisor of Canton Township. He previously enjoyed a successful 38-year career in the automotive industry. Pat supports and has served on boards of several community-based organizations, such as the Canton Chamber of Commerce, Partnership for the Arts and Humanities, Lions Club, Canton Rotary Club, and many others. In addition to his duties as supervisor, Pat is vice chairman of the Western Township's Utilities Authorities Board, a member and past chair of the 35th District Court Board of Directors, Michigan Trial Court Funding Commissioner for the Michigan Townships Association, a member of the Executive Committee of the Conference of Western Wayne, and serves on SEMCOG's Transportation Coordinating Council and RC2 Committee, as well as past chairperson of SEMCOG's Legislative Policy Platform Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, your Township Supervisor, Mr. Pat Williams.
Thank you, Thomas. We do have a lot to be proud of here in Canton as we go into the new decade. Nothing that you're going to hear about or see today can happen without the 7 Board of Trustees working together. When we sit there and we vote on budget items and initiatives and policies and local ordinances, I'm only one of 7 votes. So that being said, I'd like to introduce, we've got with us today Clerk Segrist. Michael, please stand to be recognized. Treasurer Diane Slavens, Trustee Steve Snyderman. Steve was here. Steve's still with us, good. And then working today is Summer Foster. Trustee is out. Anne-Marie Graham Hudak. Let's see, that leaves Trustee Anthony, whose wife is back in the doctors again this morning. She's been struggling with her issues. So, Board of Trustees, thank you, because none of us can do it alone. We need to work together, and we've been doing that. Thank you very much. We have several other community leaders here that represent SEMCOG, our schools, the library, county, state, Conference of Western Wayne, Education Excellence Foundation, Canton Community Foundation, Partnership for the Arts, which is our Village Arts Factory on the corner, our school board, 35th District Court. And what I'm going to do a little differently this year is rather than miss somebody, because our community is amazing in terms of being able to work together and cross community-based organizations we all do amazing things together. So please, all of you, please stand and be recognized. It'll be darn near everybody in the room. And if I miss somebody that's on a board or a commission in Canton, stand too, please. Now, stand and be recognized, everybody. Judges, Eva, thank you, school. That is the leadership of our community working together. Page 2. Vaughn, I need my notes too. Now I'm going to read right from it though. It's now my honor to introduce a very special guest and friend of mine. I'm going to introduce to you in a moment, or at this time, Khalil Rahal. Khalil and I met first through County Executive Warren Evans, who's up in Lansing today. There was something popped in the news if you follow the RTA, which makes sense why he's in Lansing today working on that. 3.5 years ago, I made a commitment, and County Executive Warren Evans made the same commitment to change the relationship between Canton Township and Wayne County. I can tell you with a straight face, we have done that successfully. Our teams meet at every level on a monthly, quarterly basis. Things are not perfect, but we are getting things done, and we're not throwing stones at each other. And I think that's a huge positive move in the right direction. And a part of that has been Khalil and the work that he's done directly with myself and me working with the county exec, Jade and his team, Greg, and so on and so forth. So Khalil, it's roads, roads, and roads, but I don't know what else you want to talk about. Come on up.
Well, thanks for setting me up, Pat. I appreciate this. No, good afternoon. I think the supervisor really hit it on the head. It absolutely kills the county executive not to be here today. I can tell you that in that 3.5 years, Warren Evans, who is, a lifelong resident of Wayne County, he's 70 years old, he's worked with Wayne County. He's worked for Wayne County for about 50 years. I think next year will be his 50th year in office. And within the 3 years' time that he's gotten a chance to meet and know the supervisor, he actually moved to Canton. And I think that says a lot, because he could live and he knows every corner of this place, trust me when I tell you. And he didn't want me to pass along a few messages today. One, you all know the financial situation the county came into back in 2005 when Warren Evans took office. We were, quite honestly, on the verge of filing bankruptcy. But communities like this, communities like Canton, that are growing so fast, are doing so well for so many places in the region, because it is a place that people want to be at, people want to be a part of, people want to move to, just like Warren Evans did. And so from a county perspective, we are so grateful. We have had a credit rating increase every year Warren Evans has been in office. And yeah, we've managed the finances pretty good. Yes, we struck a very great deal on the jail, for sure. But the one thing that Moody's, Fitch, and S&P always says that is a surprise to them is the amount of economic development activity that's happening all throughout the county. Obviously, we're building a criminal justice complex. In the place where the old jail was, we are building a campus for the University of Michigan for post-secondary education. So that's the kind of flip you're seeing. A place that used to or was planned to have housing or captivity for 1,000 people, tomorrow will house 1,000 students in the tech and mobility field. Downriver, we are doing all kinds of things at McLeod Steel. In Dearborn, you're seeing Ford's campus transform into a $2 billion project over the next couple years. And then in Western Wayne County, in Huron Township, we sold 650 acres to Ross Perot Jr. to build 2 to 4 million square feet at the old Pinnacle site. And then right here in Canton, I have to put this one out there because it's mine and my wife's favorite place. There is no better movie theater than the Imagine Theater, where we cut the ribbon for the expansion of the new IMAX theater right there on Ford Road. There's a lot happening all throughout the county. Now, we've got to tackle some issues. There's no doubt about it. And roads is #1 priority on that issue. I can tell you, and folks I do think know this now, the state funding issue in Michigan is unique and unlike anywhere else in the country. And collectively, we all got to stick together and take on Lansing to make sure they solve this issue, because that's where the money comes from, okay? Canton Township roads are certainly county roads, and Lansing has been stopping us from being able to solve that problem. While that's happening, we do have local leaders that are not waiting, like Pat Williams. He has basically brought the county to the table to do a match program to help solve county roads right here in Canton. And I think Lily Bridge is a great example of that. So you've got a great leader. I can tell you that there is nobody that calls us and hounds us more than Pat Williams, and I think today is a good example of that. So Pat, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahal. Guys, that there's a lot of planning and preparation that goes into the State of Township event. We have amazing directors who lead and managers who lead our teams. It takes a lot of coordination and effort by everyone to pull this together. So I thought you'd like to see a little behind the scenes action to show you that it's not all child's play.
Amy, come here.
I'm right here, Pat.
Oh, I need you to contact the director so we can have a meeting with the state of the township.
Okay, I'm on it.
Jade, we need you in Pat's office.
State of the township, how should I know?
Wendy, meet us in Pat's office.
Okay. It's not the budget! Okay, I'll be right there.
Josh, we need you at the admin.
I'll be right there.
Greg, meet us in Pat's office.
Okay, I'll be right there. Now that I have you all here, let's talk about the state of the township. Okay.
Who says we can't have a little fun doing this? Before we begin the video, which will cover the 2019 highlights and some of the recaps of what's coming, what I would like to do is share with you or remind folks of, over the last 3.5 years, some of the things that the 7 township trustees have covered and gotten done together. First up, we've got residents have seen a significant reduction in water rates thanks to the new water storage facility and the move to the Ypsilanti treatment system. We are going to have, again, for the 3rd year in a row, which there was 20 years of increases, we're going to have an actual decrease again for the 3rd year in a row for the average user. That doesn't mean that there'll be a few folks that aren't going to be as happy, but it is an overall reduction. We had the Village Arts Factory, which is now up and running, thanks in part to many of the Canton employees who for years have gone above and beyond, lending their expertise and effort. We're all very excited about the new amenity that's located again just across the street. It's going to be awesome for the community. Canton has consistently delivered balanced budgets, controlled organizational costs to preserve fund balances that ensure funding is available for the long-term investment in our community, and we're going to continue to do that. Additionally, we've driven down our unfunded liabilities. Since the peak in 2012, the township has reduced its unfunded liability from $73 million down to $35 million, and we've got a plan to get the rest of it taken care of. Every functional area in Canton organization has obtained national accreditation, making Canton one of only a handful of communities nationwide that is accredited in every area, every functional area. And I'm very proud to announce that at 11:03 a.m. when I was driving to this facility this morning, Josh reached out to me, him and his team, they're down in Florida. There was the national accrediting body down in Florida that voted today and confirmed that Canton Township's fire department is now nationally accredited. So public safety team, please stand up and be recognized. Please, all of this. Barb, you worked hard behind the scenes. Barb's being shy. Good job, guys. That's just incredible. Okay, none of this could be accomplished without our dedicated employees who give their heart and soul to Canton every day. There are a lot of groups that are behind the scenes, the HR department, the IT group, the crews that are out in the parks and on our roads and underground doing work that you don't see every day, but they bring it all together for us. Now what I'd like to do is have everybody sit, relax, and let's enjoy the final portion of the presentation. Thank you.
Let's begin with a look at our Municipal Services Department and all the work they do around the community. First off, Canton welcomed new Municipal Services Director Jade Smith last July. Jade comes to us by way of Westland and Milan and brings years of municipal experience with him. We look forward to working with him for many years to come. 2019 saw the first full year of road projects completed using road millage funds. Our engineering department has taken on the tremendous task of coordinating these projects, and in doing so, we are able to perform improvements on 7.5 miles of major roads and maintenance of drainage structures in 17 subdivisions. This year, we look forward to coordinating with 29 homeowners associations on subdivision improvement projects. The tentative major roads projects for 2020 include Canton Center north of Warren, Haggerty Road from Van Born to Palmer, Haggerty Road from Hanford to Warren, Sheldon Road from Yost to Michigan Avenue. Additionally, Wayne County has some projects in their sites on the books for this year, including Beck from Ford to Warren, Sheldon from Ford to Warren, and Cherry Hill from Haggerty to Canton Center. As you know, part of the road millage funds will go to construction of a boulevard on Ford Road, which will reduce congestion and accidents and improve our traffic flow. In preparation for the construction, which is anticipated to begin in 2022, the Canton Downtown Development Authority is working hard to secure cross-access agreements with businesses along Ford Road. Hope is that motorists will be able to travel to their destinations without having to turn off Ford Road. After being closed for over 30 months, the newly reconstructed Lily Road Bridge opened to traffic late last year. It was a long time coming, but definitely worth the wait. The new bridge is beautiful and will serve the community for decades. Now let's take a look at our Public Safety Department. Last year, the Police Department was part of a federal narcotics task force team responsible for investigating the overdose death of a Canton resident. This in-depth investigation resulted in the first successful federal jury trial prosecution of a defendant for distribution of heroin and fentanyl causing death in the Eastern District of Michigan. The defendant faces a mandatory life prison for this charge. Police Department has partnered with GrowthWorks on the juvenile diversion program aimed at utilizing alternate means of addressing juveniles responsible for minor offenses. This one-year pilot program is bringing restorative justice and mitigating consequences previously addressed through the court system. Late last year, contractors broke ground to rebuild the fire station number 2. This new building is being constructed next to the deteriorating 44-year-old station it is replacing and is expected to open in the fall of 2020. In addition to this replacement fire station, public safety officials are researching and monitoring calls for service and response times in the community, in anticipation of filling the need for fire station number 4 in the near future. Through generous donations from the Plymouth and Canton Rotary Clubs as well as the Kiwanis Club of Plymouth, all the Plymouth Canton Community High Schools were able to obtain a collaborative response graphic mapping system, which is a tool for public safety officials to be used during major incidents, such as active shooter, to coordinate the emergency response both outside and inside the building. In addition to providing a gridded map, the product is capable of providing the location of emergency responders as they move through and around the structures and in areas in real time by the use of specific computer software. This is an invaluable tool for our first responders. Incident commanders are able to direct a scene with hundreds of emergency first responders, and entry team members are able to move quickly to identified specific threat areas, even if they've never been inside the building. Now let's turn our focus to the leisure services area. Last September, Canton formally adopted its Americans with Disabilities Act Transition Plan that outlines proposed enhancements and modifications to all township parks and facilities to bring them into compliance with the national ADA requirements. Since the United States Department of Justice issued a final rule to adopt enforceable accessibility standards, Canton has been a leader in local municipalities by addressing these national standards that assure that government services do not discriminate against individuals on the basis of disabilities. This past year, Canton Leisure Services became the first sensory-inclusive certified Parks and Recreation Department in the nation endorsed by Culture City, a leading nonprofit organization that is committed to creating more inclusive communities nationwide. This certification requires that sensory-inclusive accommodations implemented at facilities, programs, and special events to ensure that spaces and equipment are available for all individuals with sensory processing considerations. Visitors to Heritage Park are now able to read a book as they travel the newly installed story trail around Heritage Park's large pond. This unique program is presented through a partnership with Canton Leisure Services, the Canton Public Library, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. The Heritage Park Story Trail consists of a few pages of a feature book that are posted at several stations along the trail, allowing families and friends to enjoy a special story as they walk the path and take in fresh air and scenery of the park. Each story begins with a station located in the park just west of the path near the west end of the Canton Public Library. So that fun continues year-round. A new, dynamic, and colorful story is featured on the trail every quarter. Book selections align with Canton Leisure Services and Canton Public Library featured programs and initiatives in an effort to foster even greater sense of community and unity by bringing people together through shared literature. The Summit on the Park had a record year, providing over 6,000 members access to state-of-the-art fitness equipment, classes, and other resources to improve health and wellness. The Summit remains a popular community destination that attracts more than 600,000 visitors each year. Due to the increased usage, revenue has increased significantly over the last 2 years. Still, the department is always looking for alternate funding opportunities through sponsorships, donations, and grants, which are used to offset costs. Over the last 3 years, Leisure Services has secured over $1 million from these alternate funding sources. Looking forward to 2020, Leisure Services is busy working on a new pocket park called Copper Park on the north side of Coppernick Road, east of Haggerty Road. Funded by a community development block grant, this half-acre plot of land was purchased from Westgate Apartment Complex. Amenities in Copper Park will include a swing set, a wave field creating a pattern of mini hills and grass areas, a spinning wheel play equipment for young children, and more. Pocket parks are traditionally small neighborhood parks that often utilize irregular pieces of land to provide greenery, a children's playground, and a location to gather, relax, and enjoy the outdoors. Watch for the development to begin later this spring. Moving forward, Leisure Services is eager to meet the challenges of the coming year and will continue to build momentum with high-quality programs, services, and special events that help make Canton the first-rate community that it is. The Canton Clerks Department has experienced an incredibly exciting time of change and innovation in 2019, with the focus on efficiency accomplished by utilizing new technology and eliminating outdated and redundant procedures. The Clerks Department is increasing the impact of taxpayers' dollars. Second, the Clerks Department has focused on embracing law changes that allow all voters to participate in the vote-by-mail process. The Clerks Department has doubled its permanent absentee voter list and is becoming a leader in the state when it comes to absentee list participation. Within time, the office hopes to have the most extensive absentee voter list outside of Detroit. These efforts make elections more accessible to people by removing bureaucratic barriers. Finally, the Clerks Department is pioneering new technology to make election processes more efficient and secure. They're also focused to moving to an online suite of forms, dog license registrations, and project management software. The Clerks Department is also in the process of acquiring new voter technology that will set up Canton as not only pioneers in innovation, but as an exemplary township that embraces the future while maintaining the highest standards of transparency, integrity, and professionalism. The Canton Clerk's Office is now setting its sights on proficiency for the busy elections of 2020. The Treasurer's Office rolled out bi-monthly water billing last May. The change in the billing from 90 to 60 days has been helpful to our residents with both budgeting and consistency in bill payments. With this new schedule, the Treasurer's Office has received positive feedback from our residents as well as a decrease in delinquencies. For interested residents, the office will begin budget billing based on historical billing data. So you can look at that a little later this year. Also, e-Utilities is up and running with residents enrolling daily. This is a great tool that allows our residents to see the actual read dates of their water sewer bill, history of their water bill, and consumption. And e-bill for water sewer bills is now offered to Canton residents who can sign up on our e-Utilities site. Once signed up for e-bill, residents will receive an email alerting the resident that their water bill is ready. Residents will log into e-Utilities and either print their bill or pay online. In 2019, the board adopted a 5-year capital improvement plan to address needed facility and infrastructure improvements which had previously deferred due to the economic downturn from approximately 10 years ago. The plan incorporates improvements totaling over $29 million. Projects include a complete teardown and rebuild of the fire station on Warren Road, outdoor lighting improvements at Victory Park, multiple paving projects, and roofing replacements on township facilities. In addition to multiple projects, we will invest over $1 million to address the needed improvements in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. This will be funded through grants when available, the issuance of debt, and the use of fund balance. Late last year, the Canton Cares Fund became operational. The Canton Cares Fund provides financial support for Canton Township sponsored programs assisting seniors, veterans, youth, and persons with disabilities. It also includes programs assisting Canton residents following natural disaster, mass casualty, or significant personal loss, and programs recognizing heroic or above and beyond the call of duty acts of township employees. The fund also helps acknowledge Canton's Public Safety Department annual awards dinner, where we recognize the firefighter and police officer of the year. So far, the response from the community has been tremendous, and we can't thank you enough for our continued support. The Downtown Development Authority hosted 2 very successful shred events for the community last year. We collected and shredded over 16,000 tons of paper without any traffic backups or long waits. We hope to continue this popular event this year. As you all know, this is a census year, and it's important to know that it's much more than a head count. It provides a picture of our nation that helps determine where to build schools, hospitals, and businesses. It determines how federal funding is distributed and how congressional seats are apportioned. It also helps to see how our community has changed over time, allowing us to adjust to the needs of our residents. I'm hoping that you can all spread the words on the importance of getting an accurate and complete count for our community. Every person not counted is a potential loss to Canton of thousands of dollars in grant and other funding opportunities. I was fortunate enough to receive a SEMCOG scholarship to attend the Kennedy School of Leadership at Harvard last year. The time I spent there taught me many things, among them being when common ground or goals are sought, how well folks can work together. If there was a single takeaway from the entire program, it would be to focus on the common objectives as opposed to focusing on what separates or divides us. So heading into this year, I would like us all to remember that we are more alike than we are different, and at the end of the day, we all hope for health, happiness, and safety for family, friends, and neighbors. And I believe if we all work together, we can achieve that vision and so much more. Thank you.
Pat. Round of applause for Pat Williams, please. Pat, we thank you for your dedication to this community and your tireless service, and we wish you all the best as you continue to lead this wonderful town of Canton. So we appreciate it very much. As we conclude today's program, we have just a few announcements that we would like to conclude with. We have a few events that are actually coming up, some chamber-sponsored events that we are hosting over the next few months. One is actually coming up next week. It's our annual beer and wine tasting that we host in conjunction with Holiday Market. Our wine tasting will be held on March 13th at 7 p.m. at the Summit on the Park. This is really an event that we also look forward to every year, as it has a wonderful cause or mission behind this event. We donate 50% of the proceeds to the Live Like Max Foundation. This foundation supports free, healthy heart checks for student athletes. It was a foundation that was started by the owners of Holiday Market, John and Lisa Partington, after the unfortunate passing of their son, Max, and he had a condition, the athlete's heart condition. And so this program, their foundation, is absolutely amazing, and we are happy to partner with John and Lisa and Holiday Market to help raise funds and also awareness for that cause. Next is our highly anticipated auction that will be coming up on May 8th. Our theme this year is the Roaring 20s, and how fitting that will be this year. The auction will be held, as I mentioned, on May 8th. This is the Canton Chamber's major fundraiser, as we need everyone's help to make it a success. So we ask that if you haven't already committed to being a sponsor or making a donation, that you please consider doing so, and we thank you in advance. There is some information on both of these events, our wine tasting and our auction. If you have any questions about these events, how to get involved, please see Denise Staffeld. She will be stationed out in the lobby with all of the information and flyers for those two events. Of course, we'd like to, again, as we close, thank our sponsors for their support of this event. All of our sponsors are greatly involved in the Canton community year in, year out, and so we appreciate them. So to Bovitt CPA, Comcast, Mannequin Smith, Schoolcraft, and Toll Brothers, we thank you for your support of our 2020 State of the Township address. A round of applause for our sponsors again, please. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Canton Chamber of Commerce and on Supervisor Williams, we thank you for your attendance and joining us this afternoon. As you exit the building today, please drive safely, and we'll see you next time.